turn this into something positive and maybe it'll spread.
He's the most positive person on his job.
Now you're cured.
I feel good.
Good morning and welcome to Positively Milwaukee. We begin with a story of gratitude. A Racine man and his family escaped bombing in Laos. They now call Wisconsin home, and that makes Alex Hanaskata committed to giving back. This is what the American dream often looks like. A family-owned pop-up restaurant called Sap Sap.
Can you tell me what Sap Sap means?
So Sap Sap in Lao and Thai language means kind of like delicious, delicious.
Sap Sap is a popular eatery in Racine. People go to social media to find out when it's open. They line up for the fusion of Thai, Laos, and Southeast Asian food. Devotees call it amazing. Hanasakta was born in a Thailand refugee camp. His parents escaped bombing in Laos, and they fled to the U.S. They were sponsored by a church in Burlington. Hanasakta provides sumptuous meals while raising awareness.
I want to bring attention to what happened in Laos and the soldiers that fought in the American War in our culture.
Watching his parents' hard work left an indelible impression.
As I got older, seeing my parents struggle and always tell me that you can do whatever you want with yourself. You do not want to go back to Laos. Like, you have no idea how good you have it.
Another vivid memory, his late dad, who had PTSD. Hanasakta's father fought with U.S. soldiers in the secret war in Laos, but his dad could not get help for his post-traumatic injuries because he was not officially in the U.S. military.
Seeing my dad go through the PTSD he did, not getting the resources he did, that hit really home for me dealing with firsthand. And as I got older, I always wondered why, like, the Laos soldiers that fought with the Americans were never accepted or never considered, patriots for this country, even though they fought alongside them.
His late father never forgot his roots and extended his hand to other refugees.
Everything. He was a community activist. He helped refugees come over here after the war, and he'd shelter them. He'd give them a place to stay.
Hanasakta's passion is connecting people through food. PBS's Wisconsin Foodie captured satisfied customers in one of its episodes of Sap Sap. Hanasakta often holds dinners to raise money for veterans.
I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, those vets and those people that go through PTSD, it's very real. And they need the resources as much as we can get to them.
And he's also known for his meals that come with culinary culture lessons.
Well, that's what brings me the most happiness, is seeing people from all different backgrounds and political spectrums get together and eat really good food and learn about what happened in Laos.
Alex recalls a time when food helped to melt the divide between his dad and a prejudiced neighbor.
Growing up, our neighbor was this really old, he was a Vietnam vet too. And he had his prejudices against something new. He also suffered from PTSD. Now, him and my father became the bestest of friends. And every time I come home from school, they'd be sitting there, and my dad not being able to speak English, they would just sit there for hours and eat and have a few drinks and just communicate through that food. They couldn't really communicate through language, but they were communicating through food and their experiences as old soldiers.
Hanasakta knows how hard it was for his parents to adjust to a new life in a foreign country.
Coming over here, quite frankly, and dealing with not speaking English and, adapting to a new country, new culture, but just seeing their hard work, not complaining and just getting work done. And that kind of really inspired me. And
he's glad they instilled the value of hard work and tough love.
They were really strict. But looking back, their strictness really helped me do what I'm doing right now. Because growing up, we were helping my mom and dad prep food. We never got allowances for that kind of stuff. So nothing was ever handed to us growing up.
So as Alex satisfies hungry patrons with his cooking skills, he reminds us all that stories of neglected heroes in American history deserve to be on our collective menu.
I want to bring attention to what happened in Laos and the soldiers that fought in the American War in our culture. And that's the beauty of America, I think, is sharing your food, sharing your culture, and this being such a melting pot.
That is absolutely true. And SAPSAP puts its dates of operation on its Facebook page. And I've talked to people who travel from Milwaukee to Racine just to eat their delicious food. And while we're discussing food, a local festival had to adapt for the pandemic, but it still served up great dishes, fun, and even music. This was the scene at the second annual Mequon Area Jewish Food Festival. It was a drive-through because of COVID-19, but people did line up in the cars for great traditional Jewish delectables. Here's Rabbi Moshe Lukens.
Great food, great energy, even though all the stuff that's going on now is, quite hard for the community, and hopefully this will bring a little bit of happiness, a lot of happiness and healing to the general area around. Most people were stuck inside at home for the past couple of months, and this has been a really rough ride for everyone. A lot of riffraff here and there, and we want to bring a lot of joy to every home. And whether it's music, roving entertainment, we have to do what we can, rain or shine. We're here, and we want to serve everyone and serve them with a smile, with happiness, and with joy.
And money from the festival will go to programs at the pabst Center. Well, you may have seen thousands of American flags placed in the ground at Milwaukee's Veterans Park. They honor local veterans who missed out on a trip of a lifetime because of the pandemic. Katie Crowther has that story.
2,972 flags representing every Milwaukee County resident killed in World War II.
The ultimate sacrifice of what freedom's all about.
Medal of Honor recipient and Vietnam veteran Gary Wetzel showed up at Veterans Park to see the display, as did hundreds of others.
We have families who are here today who've had loved ones that were killed in action.
This month commemorates 75 years since the end of World War II. 33,000 Wisconsinites served, including 9,000 women.
This is me when in 45. I was in and out of the White House with this picture.
94-year-old Evelyn McNeil worked for the U.S. Navy Department during the war.
And all we're trying to do is just remember that, because they're not here with us much longer. And we need to honor them as much as we can for what they did.
A caravan of more than 100 cars drove by those flags. Inside each car, a veteran. Some who served in World War II, others in Korea and Vietnam. All of them had to miss their Stars and Stripes honor flights to D.C. this year due to COVID-19. They'll be able to go once the pandemic ends, but sadly for some, that might be too late. That's why the honor flight team organized a parade through Milwaukee for them. It ended at the War Memorial Center, where dozens of people, many of them fellow veterans, stood in salute.
A touching tribute to our veterans who deserve that and much more. People are finding ways to spread a message of hope in the city of Kenosha. Adriana Mendez tells us about efforts to brighten up areas hit hard by civil unrest.
We've seen messages of love and support show up in the downtown area, and now just 5 minutes away in Uptown, we are seeing these messages of strength and unity. Now locals in the area say it's time for the city as a whole to come together and be Kenosha strong. In the aftermath of destruction, it's not hard to find the good in Kenosha.
Just want to help rebuild the community.
Residents from all ages and backgrounds picked up cans of paint and brushes to express community love throughout Uptown.
Just want to help. Okay. We gotta come together when everybody's down.
Joshua Ferguson owns a business nearby and helped organize the event.
We will be okay, you know what I mean? We will come together, we will rise again.
He says he wanted to make sure something good came out of a bad situation.
I grew up right here, right on 62nd. It's the most diverse community actually in Kenosha, I would say, Like, it just sucks because this is the community that really got it hit the hardest,
Krista Maurer's Uptown business was destroyed by fire 2 weeks before the civil unrest, and she knows how powerful community support is.
But this was a little different. This was a cause that we all should be standing for. Unity, fairness. That's the cause. Let's not forget that message.
That's why she says members from downtown and uptown must unite together as one city, a city that's Kenosha strong.
We're going to work together, Kenosha, step forward here on out, and We never want to be divided again.
And it's great to see people using their talent for good. Research shows the number of books available to a child might predict their long-term academic success. And that's why TMJ4 News and Bank 59 have partnered for the If You Give a Child book campaign. Every single dollar raised will go to Milwaukee's Next Door. And you can make sure Milwaukee kids have books to read. Visit tmj4.com/book to donate. Still ahead, how one Milwaukee woman started a food pantry right in her own backyard. And Milwaukee County zookeepers tell us what it's like taking care of a new harbor seal pup. How adorable. The Milwaukee County Zoo has a new family member, and that is giving us a reason to smile. Bosco is a harbor seal, and he was born in June. And he recently said hi to the public for the first time. Check him out. Zookeepers have been raising the pup, and they are excited to see him grow and become more brave.
But we're slowly getting him acclimated to this bigger exhibit pool. He's learning the lay of the land, getting to know the other animals, building up his muscle, and just starting to explore.
Oh, Bosco eats about 6 pounds of fish per day, and zookeepers say he is generally calm and easygoing. What a great job that is. Several Milwaukee County parks are getting a facelift. A group of volunteers from Pep Nation's Workforce Development Program have been picking up trash. They've already done McGovern, Moody, and Sherman parks, and the goal is to keep the space clean and also give a larger lesson to our children.
What we're doing is teaching the young people how to respect their communities, clean up, and make it so that it's going to be here for the rest of their lives.
The Clean the Parks program will go on for 10 weeks. The Pabst Brewing Company is launching the Golden Tap Project. Now, this is a dedicated tap where 100% of the proceeds from all beer sold will go to a charity. You can buy a beer off the Golden Tap at Captain Pabst's Pilot House. The first charity to benefit is Wisconsin Voices, and this is a program that supports creative ways to strengthen civic engagement in Wisconsin communities. A food pantry in Milwaukee Sherman Park is a community gift. Digital reporter James Groh shares this story.
This is what food equality looks like. This is what food justice looks like. It's a community-run food pantry, fridge, and garden here in Sherman Park.
Oftentimes when you go to the grocery store, a bag of peaches costs more than a box of Twinkies.
Which is why Emma Toth created a food pantry in her backyard to make healthy options more accessible. It's called Food is Free MKE, and it's located at 56th and Townsend in Milwaukee's Sherman Park neighborhood.
Blueberry. Blueberry, you're in luck. Thank you. You are welcome. A problem when the healthy foods cost more than the unhealthy foods. And we're here to kind of show that when we're given good choices, we will make good choices.
1 year ago, she harvested some produce and put it on a table for anyone to take. A couple neighbors began dropping off extra food too, and now this backyard food pantry has taken on a life of its own.
We were able to give away 1,200 vegetable starter plants for people to grow in their own garden. When you give people the opportunities and the access to grow their own food, it really helps in the sustainability of true community food justice.
Dozens of people a day come to the food pantry to pick up food, donate, or do both. It has become so popular, Food is Free MKE is expanding into other areas of Sherman Park. If you want to help or are in need of affordable, healthy food, you can find out more by going to the Food is Free MKE Facebook page. In Milwaukee, James Groh, TMJ4 News.
Now that's a perfect way to keep the neighborhood healthy. Again, this is at 56th and Townsend in the Sherman Park neighborhood. Up next, making sure Milwaukee students have the supplies they need to go back to school. Welcome back. School supply lists are no longer just pencils and pens. With our new virtual world, students also need computers and high-speed internet. Kristen Byrne shows us how local kids are getting high-tech supplies.
If your student goes to a Milwaukee public school, stocking up on number 2 pencils and getting a new backpack don't seem nearly as important as charging your Chromebook and testing your internet access. The district is starting class online. Dozens of schools started this week. If you don't have what you need for virtual learning, we found out now is the time to speak up. What about parents who might be embarrassed to say they need help financially and with things?
I think we're at a moment in time where there should be no shame, no embarrassment. We're in a pandemic. This is kind of like ground zero. Let's make sure no one's left behind.
Wendell Willis is with Milwaukee Public Schools Foundation. It provides resources to students in the district. During a pandemic, this nonprofit has become essential. He says now more than ever, the district needs more partners to help with back-to-school supplies, considering there are 158 schools to take care of.
You just have to do the best that you can do.
Single mom Anjanila Stokes has 5 kids. 3 children are in Milwaukee Public Schools. She received 3 Chromebooks, 3 hotspots, and a gift card for her kids.
It helped a really great big deal because we don't have internet access. We kind of just internet like over our phones, but it's not strong enough. The signal isn't strong enough to power the tablets.
As of right now, there aren't distribution sites for school supplies. What you need to do, Willis says, is pick up the phone.
The simplest, easiest thing is always call your school.
He says new parents can call the district with other questions, and he encourages every guardian to sign up for text alerts to stay connected.
But we just have to learn how to tap into those resources. And it's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed because everybody needs help.
That's right. This is the time we're living in. And if you do happen to need school supplies, call your child's schools and let them know. New parents can also call the central office of MPS. There's no need to feel embarrassed. Well, there's now 2 weeks left to nominate your favorite hero for the Positively Milwaukee Awards. And this morning, we're going to highlight last year's Teacher of the Year Award winner, Edwina Matthews.
Edwina is important to Milwaukee because she's a role model.
I think she belongs up there with the Val Phillips, the Father Grappes, and some of those other people that just kind of just laid it all on the line to make Milwaukee a better place for African Americans.
She's never done. She's still that traveler, paving the way for others to say, you can do what I've done, but much better.
She's just amazing, and she is truly just that, what you all are honoring her for, being the inspiring senior. Because before she was the inspiring senior, she was just inspiring.
And she's definitely Positively Milwaukee.
In order to know where you're going, you got to know where you came from. And I continue to stand up and fight for that, even as a retired teacher. During the time I went to school in Milwaukee, all my friends was white through grade school and high school. I had never encountered any racism.
She and her husband at the time were having difficulty buying a house.
I've never seen such a large white mob, and that's when we started the rallies.
She was out marching with Father Grappe. She was marching for fair housing, fair employment.
And she even told me she marched with Martin Luther King.
I vowed to stay involved because I know my voice count.
You had to have been brave. You had to have a belief that this was worth, even maybe losing your life over. When I hear her talk about some of her interactions with Father Grappe, with Dr. King, some of the marches that she took place in, it just lets you know that she was just dedicated to the community.
My cousin, who's a teacher, and she was my role model, and I always wanted to be like her. So she inspired me to be a teacher.
She actually worked for MPS for 37 years as an implementer and a teacher.
And I just felt that it was my duty to my grandparents, to Dr. King, and all the other blacks that have fought for equal opportunity and quality education for black kids.
She has never stopped. She's still in the classroom helping support teachers.
She works with a small group of students that are struggling in reading.
Good morning, boys and girls.
She gives them that personal love, one-on-one, that they need more of. It just shows how much she cares about Milwaukee and my students and the school, and she takes that time every day to come here.
Because if I'm there for these kids, maybe later on these kids will think about it when they finish school and they say, well, Miss Matthews was there to help me. Maybe one day they will reach out and help someone. We
need to try to get as much out of her as we can because, we're losing our history. You know, and if we don't have people like her to continue to tell us about what she went through, the struggle she went through, so that we can have a more fair opportunity at an education, at life itself, is just, it's important.
She's weathered the storm. She continues to weather the storm only because she cares about the community.
She's a jewel here in Milwaukee and an asset to our community.
She's always on the right side of justice and on the right side of righteousness, right? She's just good-hearted people.
Keep reading, keep reading. Reading is the key. You can see that kids want to do better and they can do better, but they just need that push. They have to know that someone cares about them. Educating these kids is hope for Milwaukee.
Oh, Edwina has so much love in her heart, and she has made such a positive impact on her students and this world. And we know there are a lot of people like Edwina out there, and we want to bring them to light. All you have to do is nominate them for a Positively Milwaukee Award. Go to tmj4.com/awards. I'll be right back with my quote of the week. Welcome back. Each week I like to leave you with an inspirational message, and today's comes from famed classical pianist Arthur Rubinstein. He said, "I have found that if you love life, life will love you back." So love life, everybody. Have a great week and stay positively Milwaukee. We're going to leave you today with a beautiful video of Clutch Park in Glendale from our photographer, Eric Steffens.